Okay, so in Europe we do have a lot of Chinese electric cars that push our charging to its absolute limits. And now we are waiting for the charge point operators to actually, deliver the power that we can get on these cars. I first want to mention that many of the Chinese electric cars that we do get in Europe actually benefit from today's charging infrastructure. So if you are just a normal person going on a road trip, you can plug into a Hyper 400 and get a flat charging curve, and it's beneficial, it's nice, and these cars are good on today's charging network. That's important to note. But when we are pushing the charging limits on these kind of chargers and this hardware, we also notice some weaknesses, especially in the cables that are used on different chargers. So you might see a kilowatt number on a charger. For example, a Hyper 400 will say 400 kilowatts. There are many other chargers as well. Some claim 500 kilowatts, some claim 600 kilowatts, some claim more. But that's the conversion power. It has to go through a cable, and that cable is usually the limiting factor. So, we have different types of cables around in Europe. We have Phoenix, we have Amphenol, we have Huber as well in Europe actually. So we do have a lot of cables available, and those are usually the limiting factor. So when I drive this kind of Seeker core around, or the Seeker privileged all-wheel drive, or Xpeng, or other fast charging electric cars around, I am looking for chargers that can deliver the full power. That's important to me because I'm a car tester. I want to push it to its limits. I want to see how the charging performance truly is on the best possible hardware. For the normal use case, you know, you can go with your Xpeng G6, you can go to a Hyper 400, you can get an amazing charging speed and you can be happy and go on your way. But I always want the maximum. That's why I'm so focused on these cables, to make sure that the cables are good enough to supply the cars. And I'm happy to tell you that something is changing in Europe, and that I got an email from Echo Energetica, which was the place I was with the Seeker 7 GT privileged all-wheel drive, the truck charger that you might remember from an earlier video. I made a video about the charger because it claimed it was a little bit difficult to understand the kind of claimed kilowatts, but it was between 600 and 800 kilowatts, which is the fastest available public charger in Norway at the moment, regardless if it's 600 kilowatts or 800 kilowatts. Then I took a look at the cable and it said 800 amps, and that's 800 amps nominal. Short cable, probably oil cooled, and it was a Phoenix contact cable. It just looked amazing. And for those of you that don't understand the relationship between amps and kilowatts, is that amps are needed to deliver the kilowatts to certain cars. So if you have a car like the Seeker 7 GT privileged all-wheel drive that is 800 volt, you need a certain amount of amps to get a high charging speed. For that car, it's 420 kilowatts. You need high amps. And a lot of the cables that are installed today are 380 amp nominal with a 600 amp boost. That's pretty normal, and those are dry cables. And dry cables are good from a cost perspective. They are cheap to install, but unfortunately we are now pushing these cables to its limits. We see strange charging curves, we see a thermal derate, and that's why I'm pushing for the European charge point operators to install better cables. And as far as I know, that's happening. So let's start out with talking about the reply from Echo Energetica regarding that charge, because we didn't get the expected charging speed. We got like 240 kilowatts. We got a little bit more when I tested later, but we didn't get anywhere near 420 kilowatts, which is what I would expect with the Seeker 7 GT. And I emailed them, I called them, and I was in contact with them because I want to understand what's going on and where can I charge the fastest. And they said, "Thank you for your patience. It was a technical cable problem. The necessary software modifications have now been implemented. Our testing team is currently validating the changes in our laboratory, and we expect the testing to be completed soon." So there was something wrong with the cable, which makes sense because we didn't get the expected charging speed. I also asked about the output of the charger because I wanted to know, is it 600 kilowatts or is it 800 kilowatts on CCS2, which is the one we use for passenger cars in Europe. The charger also had a MCS port, which is used exclusively for truck charging. So they told me that the station's output is 600 kilowatts at 1000 volt and 600 amps. And in my opinion, that's a little bit misleading because there are no 1000 volt cars and you need a 1000 volt car to get 600 kilowatts on 600 amps. You just multiply 600 amps by 1000 and you get 600 kilowatts. So not good enough, but I would probably be able to get a very good charging kind of speed on the Seeker 7 GT. I did ask again then about the boost. If the cable is 800 amp nominal, 600 amps should be completely fine and should be able to boost past that. At the moment, we are unable to do this due to the DC meter of the satellite. And this is what measures the energy accurately for when you're paying for kilowatt hours, we need to measure the kilowatt hours accurately. And the only way to do that is a DC meter. And they are extremely strict for how those are implemented. So due to that, there is a limitation. But they say that our engineers are currently working on modifications to these satellites, and it will be possible to configure the satellite with a megawatt CCS in boost mode. That means 1000 kilowatts out of this satellite with CCS in the future. And this makes me so excited because this is nearing BYD flash charging levels on a third-party charger. So you can take your BYD flash charging car over to a Echo Energetica satellite like that and get the full charging speed. Of course, those are made for trucks, so trucks will have first priority on those satellites. And I assume that charge point operators that buy this hardware will wait with buying these kind of 1000 kilowatt capable chargers and make those truck charging sites first, because there are more incentives to build truck charging sites. But currently, most truck charging sites are open to the public, so it doesn't matter. I will go there. I will go there with my Seeker 7 GT or Seeker 7 GT Core and get an amazing charging session. They didn't have a timeline for making that available, but I'm very curious to follow Echo Energetica very closely, and I'm very happy that they responded and told me, okay, it's a cable problem, and that we will fix that. So that's cool. Echo Energetica is working on getting fast chargers available for everyone. They also have 500 kilowatt chargers around. Unfortunately, those are 500 amp cables, but I believe they can boost. Some other exciting news regarding charging in Europe is that we are getting version 4 superchargers. And version 4 superchargers, for the first time, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the cabinets. So the cabinets are able to supply the power at 1000 volt. This means that we get faster charging for all 800 volt cars in Europe, because these are open to everyone. There are currently three sites live, one in Norway, one in Freiburg in Germany, and one in France are live. Then right now, as I'm filming this video, one is built in the UK, which is fantastic, and these are amazing for supplying high power to fast charging electric cars. And Tesla hardware is absolutely fantastic because they can supply 700 amps or even more, which is crazy. So at the moment, the version 4 1000 volt compatible superchargers are the fastest DC fast chargers for electric cars in Europe until BYD flash charging comes live. So if you have a new Seeker or Xpeng and want to max it out, maybe go to a version 4 supercharger and test it out there. I absolutely recommend it. There is a power conversion limit of 500 kilowatts. So even if your car is able to take more than 500 kilowatts, which most electric cars are not able to take more than 500 kilowatts at the moment, but there are some. You will only get the 500 kilowatts maximum. But 700 amps is fantastic. This means that higher charging speed for most European electric cars, which is fantastic to see. Then we have other providers like Alpitronic, which has the Hyper 1000s. They can be configured different ways. I think they need to get over 600 amps, in my opinion. They should have cables that are capable of 800 amps, oil-cooled. It's even better to sacrifice a little bit of length on the cable, maybe, to be able to get that kind of current through the cables, which would be fantastic. So very hyped for Alpitronic building out the Hyper 1000s. I think the Hyper 400s are good for certain use cases, but we should start to move over to more plugs and higher power as we move along, and as these kind of electric cars from China are coming into Europe. I think we need to have a charging network that can support the maximum speeds that we can get out of these cars, even though it is extremely expensive. I know it is extremely expensive. Not only the hardware, but the peak demand chargers are expensive in certain countries, and also the cables are expensive, of course. Having immersion cooled or oil cooled cables is significantly more expensive. Then we have Kempower, which is currently supplying the Mega satellites, and the Mega satellites are absolutely fantastic. Those are 700 amps through a Huber-Schumer cable on CCS2. These are great. They are marketed as 560 kilowatt chargers, so the conversion power should be able to supply 560 kilowatts. At 700 amps, should be able to max out something like the Xpeng G9 and Xpeng X9 is a little bit slower charging, but the G9 with over 500 kilowatt charging should be able to max out on the new Kempower Mega satellites. Of course, those are rare. Kempower hardware is being installed everywhere, but it's mostly the dry stations. They do have liquid cooled stations in some places, and then the Mega satellites is another level above that. So that's fantastic to see. So we have multiple players coming in and installing good hardware. We also have Chinese hardware. BYD flash chargers are coming to Europe. Those are mostly Chinese hardware. Some of them are actually built in Italy, so not entirely true, but very, very interesting to see. And some of them are built in China, of course. And then a blend of that will become available in Europe. BYD has said that it will be open to everyone, which is absolutely fantastic to see. That's also related to European regulations regarding building out charging. It needs to be open to everyone. But yeah, it's still great to see. Currently, the BYD flash chargers are behind fences. That's why I'm talking about them in the way I'm doing, because I really want to see it public available for absolutely everyone. But currently, they're waiting for some certification and stuff, and that's fine. It will become available soon enough, which is fantastic to hear. I'm very hyped about the BYD flash charging network, and I want to follow it closely to see how it rolls out. What is the pricing? That's extremely important on charging networks as well. Even though it's fast, you can't take double the price. I promise you that. People don't want to choose that. But battery buffers, that will lower the peak demand. It will become cheaper and stuff. Then we have other providers like Huawei actually supplying chargers to European CPOs at the moment. Electra, for example, in France is using Huawei hardware on some of their sites. They're testing a bunch of different stuff. So that's also interesting to see the players, because Huawei can build some amazing chargers. They already did that in China. So that's kind of the state of what's happening with the European fast charging scene in terms of high power for our cars that are increasingly higher power, but the kind of cable limitations and even charger limitations that we have seen around Europe is a little bit stagnant. It hasn't moved fast enough, in my opinion. And when I get a press car, a Seeker 7 GT, I want to go to a 400 kilowatt charger and trust that I can get 400 kilowatts for the entirety of when the car requests it. That's not the case, because we do have dry cables, the cables overheat, and for the normal user, it doesn't mean that much, but I think the charging networks should be built for the future. And if we look into the future, we will see so many more fast charging cars, especially if we get more affordable BYD flash charging cars on the road. Those will max out the current stations, and that's the case for Teslas as well. The power cabinet, let's say it's around 800 kilowatts, and you have two BYDs pulling up, they will get like under half the charging speed that they request once we get more BYD flash charging cars in Europe. So that was a little bit of an update on the fast charging scene in Europe and my reply from Echo Energetica. I'm very happy that they replied to me, and I'm super curious to see how they build out the chargers more and more. And I will continue testing. I will continue pushing the limits, because I believe that fast charging should be affordable, available for everyone, and just an option. You don't need to stay at the gas station for 20 minutes anymore. You can choose yourself. You can charge for 5 minutes, then go to whatever restaurant you want to be at. It's about flexibility, fast charging. So I think it's important for EV adoption to at least have options for fast charging, and then you can decide for yourself if you want a fast charging car or not, but I believe the network should be there to support that.